these people's assemblies are a national movement. People are beginning to realize that the so-called official legislative bodies do not represent poor and working people. We are, in fact, disenfranchised. When you look at the city council or the New York State legislature or the U.S. Congress, they are in the pockets of bankers. And so more and more, people have to find new democratic forums, at least to share common problems, survival, and ultimately to give a new, give birth to a new culture of people's democracy.
We have a rich history in the South Bronx, not starting with Lincoln Hospital, but not the least of which was all the activism on the Young Lords, and Matilda Shakur, everything that happened in the South Bronx. That's right, and where hip hop started. Thank you, a real movement. The Bronx right now, like many other similarly situated communities, is a hotbed of discontent. The people are feeling something, and we need to strike while the iron is hot.
We're at a college that was slated to be closed in 1976. A college which in 1976 was an old tire factory. There were 2,000 students. 80% of them were single mothers with children. And there was $75 million to fix up Yankee Stadium in 1976. And there wasn't $4 million to keep this school open. I was among a lot of other people that were participating in the movement. We took over the school for 20 days. I slept in room 406 for 20 days. We surrounded the Grand Concourse with chairs. We held class and blocked the traffic in the Grand Concourse. We took over the Board of Higher Education on 80th Streat. We marched 10,000 people from 116th Street to 55th Street. And as a result of this movement that was created, we were successful in saving this school, which now has about 8 buildings, including this building, which did not exist in '76, and which is always a reminder to me of people, that people can win. We need an army to make a statement politically. Sometimes we have to make a statement politically. It's a tactic, without a doubt. But we have to make a statement, and we need a lot of soldiers for November 2nd.
We have to get at least 50,000 votes on November 2nd. We should get 100,000 votes. Yes. As many tens of thousands of votes as we can. Because if we get a minimum of 50,000 votes, that gives us a place on the ballot next year. We become an official party on the ballot.
There is one party that has come forward that is on the ballot in November, the Freedom Party, that has taken a very clear stand on that subways belong to the people and that the subways should be free.
There are 223,000 what they call disconnected youth in the city of New York, age 16 and 24.
There's a lot of youth out here think that we don't care.
Some have the ruling elite, those who control and own the means of production, they have decided they don't so much need as educated of a workforce as they once needed. When I was in school, we had music class, we had home economics, we had wood shop, we had metal shop, we had auto mechanic shop, we had science labs, everything that you could want, we had it. But they started getting rid of a lot of that as we got older, and most kids nowadays, they don't have those programs in schools anymore. They are trying to destroy the right to quality public education. They are dumbing down our students, just as they're de-skilling workers. And they are attacking one of the largest, if not the largest, unions in the country, which are the teachers' unions. Hundreds of thousands of students and teachers and community members took to the streets to defend public education in over 33 different states and 110 different localities around the country. In Puerto Rico, they shut down the UPR system. In Chittagong is in Bangladesh. They shut down Chittagong University in response to the increase in fees there. we can't separate because it's one struggle. That's what it's about, a struggle for our rights, the things that we need, and the things that wouldn't exist if it wasn't for us in the first place.
So our coalition briefly is focused on defending and improving public education, but we see all these struggles connected. When a child is homeless and comes to school, that child has a problem learning. When that child doesn't have food in the home, or there's a problem in the home, that child can't learn. And then that child comes to a system that wants to put them in a school to prison pipeline. So we want parent and community control of our schools. We want to get rid of mayoral dictatorship. We want to keep the corporations out of our schools.
It says floodway. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. It's talking about the delays that's in the transit system on the weekends. And if you read on the top of what it says, it says tough luck. Like, we don't even give a damn. Look, it says tough luck. Like, and you're going through this, and we're raising your fare, and what are you going to do about it? That's what this says to New Yorkers.
The problem is that the MTA does not run a transportation system. It is a cash cow for the banks. T-bots, which is what we call it, take back our transit system, T-bots. And we have raised that even legally speaking, the MTA does not own the transit system. It has never been owned by the MTA. It is leased to them for no money by the city. It belongs to us.
We understood $1 billion for Yankee Stadium, $1 billion for Citi Field Shea Stadium, $1 billion for Rackham Arena, $1 billion for Aqueduct. We understand that they can't say the money isn't there. The money is there.
We want a board that is elected, that is representative of every nationality and every community in the city of New York.
The small group of comrades, brothers and sisters, we call the Cesar Pacari Labor Center, we've managed to get tens of thousands of dollars over the last several years for workers, almost always undocumented workers, who are afraid to go to the courts, who are afraid to go to the Labor Department, and who are afraid even to fight with the boss because they're afraid that they're going to be deported, which is what the boss tells them right off the bat.
Starting last May, the governor has just signed a memorandum of agreement stating that any fingerprints that has gone through to the system will be considered. Well, they will consider to send it to ICE. Right?
That's bad. That's wrong.
They say that they're planning to deport criminals. That's what they say, right? But when they look at those fingerprints, right? How do they know that I'm undocumented? Possibly just because my name is Latino.
Every creature on the earth seeks out and finds a shelter and has nobody telling them they can't stay here. Think about what I just said. Animals, creatures go into the ground. Nobody comes, you can't stay here. You go in a cave, you can't stay here. But let me tell you something, what's happening with people who find themselves subjected to homelessness.
We don't have any politicians helping represent workers. That's why we all got to get together and help represent ourselves.
We need to take over this here whole issue of jobs, justice, and education, because it's us that's fighting for it. Us! So we ain't gonna let it get away because the NAACP called for it in connection with labor. We have an opportunity to put our message into the national spotlight.
All the survival issues overlap. We are suffering depression level unemployment. That's what it is. This is not the Great Recession this is the Great Depression. That's the reality of it. And in our communities, in the South Bronx, and other places in this city and in this world, I mean, you know, there's 50% unemployment.
So people are left to believe that when you engage in politics, the only arena is the electoral arena. They don't know that the arena is every place where you are and that people have won. The welfare reform was not done by some kind-hearted people that said welfare mothers and fathers and children need to get more money. The welfare mothers and fathers organized the hell out of this country to demand to be treated decently. People didn't sit by and slavishly allow people to have their enough to say and demand the work program. They were strong enough to do that.
What if we, as of October 2nd, put the government on notice? We need a real jobs program. Not a jobs program for 50,000 people or for 500,000 people or for 1 million people, but for the 20 to 30 million people, unemployed and underemployed, who need a job at a living wage. And we want you to enact that program by Martin Luther King's birthday, January 17th, 2011. And let us plan here and all around the country to make that day, make Martin Luther King's birthday, Uprising for Jobs Day. You for Jobs Day. Uprising for Jobs Day.
Uprising for Jobs can't march on Martin Luther King. It's time. Yeah. It's time. It should be called Uprising for Jobs or else.